Okay, quick disclaimer. The video that you're about to watch is all about charitable giving, and I know that right now times are tough, and I know that a lot of people are going without income, and even if you do have an income, it might be cut considerably. So please know that this is curriculum that I would typically teach in a typical year, and that's how it should be taken. However, if you are going through a rough time, please do not hesitate to reach out for help from our school district or from myself. And please know that a lot of the recommendations in this video can also be done without money. So it is not strictly a financial lesson, and I hope that what I'm teaching in this class is helping to prepare you for the future, and that this time, although difficult, is also making you a stronger person. Thanks. Hey guys, so I'm coming to you today to talk to you about a really tough subject. Charitable giving. And honestly, it's not a tough subject. It's actually a really fun topic. In fact, it's one of the most fun topics that I enjoy teaching the most. And I'm kind of really sad that I don't get to be with you while I'm teaching it, but hopefully I can convey the overall sentiment and message through this video. All year long, I have been telling you to save, to have that emergency fund, to use cash for your purchases and not to use credit. I've been telling you to go out and buy cars with cash rather than using a loan, and to make sure you're working hard so you can pay for school without having to go into student debt. We've been talking about other ways of budgeting and investing and all this fun stuff, and now I'm going to tell you that on top of all of that, in fact, before all of that, I want you to think about how you can give back. And not that you can't give back in other ways. You can. You don't have to use your money. You could give back with your time and your resources and your talents, and that's 100% true, and I don't want to diminish that in the slightest. But I do want to share with you a fun little secret. The more open you are with your money, the more willing you are to give it back to others, the more you're actually going to have. And I know that that sounds crazy. It doesn't really even make sense, okay? Math can't explain it, science can't explain it, I can't really explain it. All I can tell you is that for years and years and years and years, I have given of my finances, sometimes more than I thought I could. And yet, I've always come out on top. I have found that when I don't hold my money with a closed fist and instead I hold it with an open hand, I can do a lot more with it. And I think if you try, you'll find that too. So today we're going to talk about charitable giving, and before we get too far into too many technical terms, because there's not really a whole lot of technicalities that go along with this, we're just going to talk about some different ways that you can give. And so first I'm going to share with you about some things that my husband and I have personally chosen to give to because they're passions for us. Then I'm going to share with you some ideas of things that you could do to give back. Some of them are going to involve your finances, and some of them are going to be completely free. It's really up to you and how you choose to do them. And then finally, we're going to talk about what you're going to do with this information. Why does this stuff matter? So let's get started. So Operation Christmas Child is one of those organizations that my husband and I like to give to every year. You basically prepare a box of regularly used items like toothpaste and toothbrushes, and then even some little small toys and things to give to children in third world countries who otherwise would receive nothing for Christmas. It's a very easy way to give back, and it doesn't cost a whole lot to bring a lot of joy to a child's face. While my husband was in college, he had the opportunity to visit Thailand, and while there he met this gentleman who was associated with Campus Crusade for Christ. And through his talkings with this gentleman, he decided and felt called to send him a monthly stipend to help him in what he was doing there in Thailand. And so since my husband was in college, which was 11 years ago, that seems crazy, we have been giving $25 a month to this particular ministry. And even though $25 does not sound like a lot, when you have a lot of people doing that, it helps to do a lot of really awesome things. Some of you may recognize this face. This is Tasha Barker. She went to Jayhawk Lynn High School, and my husband and I met her many years ago when she was in our youth ministry at First Baptist Church. But it was about 3 years ago that she came to us and was interested in being a part of this ministry out at Kansas State University called Student Movement. And she has since then become one of their staff members and has been doing a phenomenal job. And so back then, 3 years ago, we decided to fund her at about $100 a month. And just recently we did take it down a little bit because she has more people helping her out, but we are still excited to see what she's doing there. As you may be realizing, my husband and I really enjoy investing in people that we believe in and think are doing really awesome things. And another one of those people is his sister, Amber, who actually lives in Philadelphia and has, for the last 10 years, she's been ministering to the city of Philadelphia through the ministry called Urban Hope. And so that's something that we have wanted to support her in, and she has continued to serve there in various capacities and loves that city so much. And as you can see in this picture, here she is sitting over the city, just looking over it and thinking about the different things that she can do to help the community members of that city. And here you see an aerial view of our church, First Baptist Church in Mound City. This is actually from this past Easter ceremony when we were doing our drive-in church. And what I really love about this picture and what it represents is that this is kind of a way that my husband and I give of both our time and our talents, but also our money. We do give 10% of our income at the beginning of every month to our church in order for them to use it for various purposes, but we also give a lot of our time and a lot of our energy and our talents to this church as well. I personally help out in the nursery. I do some singing for the church on occasion. I've been part of the cleaning service. I've done some different things with the different youth ministries and the children's ministries and teaching and stuff like that. So we've helped out in a lot of different formats using what gifts we have to help others. And this last picture here really just represents something fun that my husband and I really love doing. Back in college, my husband was a waiter and he really enjoyed it because basically his performance automatically led to how much he made. And so he knew if he worked hard and did good that he would make a good amount of money. But that wasn't the case for everybody else that was a waiter, and that they didn't always have that mentality. And so something we really like to do is when we have a really good waiter, we like to over tip, like give them an extremely awesome tip and just encourage them. But even more so, something that we really enjoy doing also is finding others around us who maybe are eating at a restaurant and they just look like they've had a really hard day and a rough day or whatever it may be, and just paying for their meal. We oftentimes have no clue what the cost is going to be prior to requesting to pay for that meal, but we just hope that we can brighten somebody's day by taking care of a need that they no longer have to worry about. Okay, so there's always that person that asks, what if I have no money? What in the world could I do? Well, if you don't have money, what I can promise you probably have is time, and you probably also have some talent in there somewhere. So use some of those time and talents that you have available in order to help others. And here I'm going to show you some different things that you can maybe do without money. Let's see. Maybe you could use your athletic ability or athletic mind to help a little league team out. Or maybe you have a lawnmower at home that would allow you to mow a neighbor's yard or the yard of an elderly person who can't do it themselves. Maybe you realize that there's a blood shortage and that you could help by donating some blood. Maybe you've come to realize that there are a lot of lonely people in retirement facilities that need someone to talk to. Maybe you have a passion for books and reading and could volunteer at your local library. Or maybe you have a way with words, and writing notes of encouragement or thank you to another person is a way that you can give back. Okay, it would be silly of me to talk about giving and expecting you all to give without really reflecting on the fact that all of you have probably been helped in one way or another. And so I want you to think about, when was a time when somebody gave to you, whether it was with their money and their time or their talents? When did somebody show kindness and help you out of a tough situation or a bad mood or whatever it was that you were going through? And if you can reflect on that moment and how it made you feel, you understand what doing good for others can really mean. And so I want you to think about that. And as you're thinking about that, I want to share with you a little story about my husband and I when we were at Walmart one day in Fort Scott. This was shortly after I had given birth to my second child, and we were there doing our, regular grocery shopping trip. And it was really nothing out of the ordinary. We just kind of meandered our way around the store, got our stuff together, and we were in the checkout. And while in the checkout, there was a gentleman in front of us, and he was wearing a Vietnam veteran's hat. So he was a service member, and we kind of exchanged glances, and he kept looking at me awkwardly. And I even remember leaning over to my husband and saying, something wrong? Like, he keeps looking at us weird. And he leaned over to the cashier and whispered something in their ear, and she goes, oh, okay. And then he got done with his order and started to kind of walk away, but didn't walk very far away. Kind of just stayed near our aisle, and again, just kind of staring awkwardly. And so it was a little bit creepy. I remember that being the case. And we put up all of our grocery items, and I think our total for our groceries was somewhere close to like $120 or something like that. And it was, just we were going to the grocery store to get by for like a week or whatever. It wasn't like a huge grocery trip, because sometimes ours can get pretty high, but it was like a reasonable amount. And we had the money, we were prepared to pay it, but he quickly, before my husband could hand cash to the cashier, he went over and scanned his debit card and paid for our entire basket or cart of groceries. And I just remember instantly kind of tearing up, because it wasn't a moment when we were like financially stretched or even stressed out at all really about finances, but it was just the heart of that gentleman to want to do something good for somebody else. And my husband went over and shook his hand and said, thank you so much, we appreciate that. I don't know why you did it, but we appreciate your service and we're so thankful for it. And he said, I don't have a family, and I just had seen you guys shopping and chatting with your kids and having just a good time shopping together. And he's like, when he went to check out, he's like, I decided that I was going to try to get in front of you wherever you would go and pay your grocery bill. And so I just wanted to say, hey, good luck to you and your family, and have a Merry Christmas. It was around Christmas time. It wasn't like the week before. It was sometime during the month of December. And I don't remember the details of the day, but I remember that moment, and I just remember how I felt. And it just reminded me of how good you can make somebody else feel by doing a simple act. And I'm not saying what he did was simple. Guys, $120 is not something that's simple for everyone. But any way that you can bless someone else is definitely worth it. And I encourage you to do that. So as you do your regular assignments this week, which is going to be going through the charitable giving section in Foundations Digital, and then for your one assignment, doing all of the videos and the quizzes and all that fun stuff, I'll be grading you in that way by checking on Foundations Digital. That's your first assignment. And then you've got another choice board option to do. This is your last choice board option week, so choose wisely. Not this week, but next week, you're going to be participating in a video response assignment where you're going to be coming up with a way that you can give back to others. So even though that is not this week's assignment, I want you to start thinking about what is something that you have, whether that's money, time, or talent, that could be used to give to someone else. And kind of keep it in mind, because there's more coming next week. Remember, if you need anything throughout the week, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. You can get a hold of me via email at andrear@pv362.org, or you can call me on my Google Voice number and get a hold of me there, and you guys have that number available. So, looking forward to hearing from you if you need it, and if you don't, best of luck to you all. Have a good week.